know I messed it up. Can't control my emotions.
Welcome to Motorsports Mania, the channel that brings you detailed reviews, stories, and insights into the world of automobiles. Here we uncover the engineering, features, controversies, and histories of cars that left a mark in the automotive industry, whether for their innovation, success, or even their failures. Today we are looking at one of the most controversial cars ever produced, the Ford Pinto. The Pinto is remembered not so much for its performance or design but for the infamous crash reputation that turned it into a symbol of corporate negligence and unsafe design. Its story continues to be studied today as a case of how one vehicle can impact public trust, brand reputation, and even government safety regulations. The Ford Pinto was introduced in 1971, during a time when American manufacturers were under pressure from growing competition in the compact car segment. Japanese brands like Toyota and Honda, as well as European models like the Volkswagen Beetle, were becoming increasingly popular with American buyers who wanted small, affordable, and fuel-efficient cars. Ford wanted to enter this space quickly, so the Pinto was designed and developed in record time, just over 2 years, which was far shorter than the typical timeline for developing a new vehicle. This rapid development helped Ford put the Pinto on the market fast, but it also contributed to critical design flaws that would later come to light. On the outside, the Pinto was a typical subcompact car for the early 70s. It was small, lightweight, and available in multiple body styles including a two-door sedan, a hatchback called the Runabout, and a station wagon. The styling was modest and functional, with a straightforward design that did not stand out but appealed to those who simply wanted affordable transportation. It had simple chrome accents, modest headlights and taillights, and a compact stance that made it easy to maneuver in crowded cities. Inside, the Pinto featured a basic interior that matched its budget-friendly purpose. The dashboard was functional, controls were minimal, and materials were not luxurious but acceptable for the price. It seated 4 people and had a reasonable cargo area in the wagon and hatchback versions. Ford even tried to give the car a bit of variety with trims like the Pinto Squire wagon, which came with faux wood paneling, and sportier-looking additions. In terms of specifications, the Pinto was offered with several small 4-cylinder engines ranging from 1.6 liters to 2.3 liters over its production run. These engines were paired with manual or automatic transmissions and delivered modest power, enough for daily commuting but not designed for high performance. The Pinto was marketed as an economical car rather than a powerful one, and fuel economy was one of its biggest selling points, especially during the oil crisis of the 1970s when buyers were increasingly conscious about fuel costs. The Pinto sold well in its early years, becoming one of Ford's most popular cars of the decade. It was affordable, practical, and fit the needs of many American families. However, its reputation was forever damaged when reports surfaced about the dangers of rear-end collisions. The placement of the fuel tank behind the rear axle and close to the rear bumper created a serious safety hazard. In moderate-speed rear-end crashes, the fuel tank could rupture, leading to fuel leaks and, in some tragic cases, fires or explosions. Investigations revealed that the Pinto's design left little protection for the tank, with bolts and sharp edges in the rear structure that could easily puncture it. What made the Pinto infamous was not just the defect itself, but the response from Ford. Internal company documents later revealed that Ford engineers had been aware of the issue during the car's development. Crash tests showed the risk of fuel tank ruptures, and engineers proposed solutions such as reinforcing the rear structure or relocating the tank. However, these fixes would have cost Ford around a few dollars per car, and according to reports, the company decided it would be cheaper to handle potential lawsuits than to recall or redesign the vehicle. This cost-benefit analysis came to light in the late 1970s and created a media storm, portraying Ford as a company that put profits above human lives. The controversy came to a head in 1977 when a major magazine published an exposé on the Pinto, bringing national attention to the story. Lawsuits began to mount, and the car's nickname became associated with fiery crashes and unsafe design. In 1978, Ford finally issued a recall for 1.5 million Pintos, one of the largest recalls in automotive history at the time. The recall involved modifications to make the fuel tank safer, including protective shielding and better placement of components. By then, however, the damage to the Pinto's reputation was irreversible. Despite the controversy, the Pinto continued to sell during its production run from 1971 to 1980, with over 3 million units built. Many owners never experienced accidents, and for some people, the Pinto served reliably as an inexpensive commuter car. However, its image in popular culture was permanently tarnished. The Pinto became a symbol of unsafe design and poor corporate ethics, often used as a case study in law, business, and engineering classes. It highlighted the importance of consumer safety and the consequences companies face when they ignore it. Looking back at its features, aside from the safety flaw, the Pinto was a very typical subcompact for its time. It had small but economical engines, basic interiors, affordable pricing, and a variety of body styles to suit different buyers. It was never meant to be luxurious or sporty, though Ford did offer slightly upgraded trims with cosmetic changes. The handling was average, ride quality was acceptable, and overall it delivered what it promised, which was affordable personal transportation. But the single design flaw overshadowed all of its practicality and affordability. The legacy of the Pinto has been significant in shaping modern automotive safety standards. Today, crash testing, government regulations, and consumer safety advocacy groups play a major role in ensuring that cars are thoroughly tested before hitting the market. Features like crumple zones, reinforced structures, airbags, and strict fuel system safety regulations have made cars far safer than they were in the 1970s. In a way, the Pinto helped push forward the conversation about safety and corporate responsibility, even though it did so through negative publicity. In the world of classic cars, the Pinto still exists as a curiosity. Some collectors seek them out not because they were great cars, but because of their place in automotive history. They are displayed at shows, featured in documentaries, and remembered as examples of how much the industry has changed. The Pinto's story continues to serve as a warning about the dangers of prioritizing cost over safety and the lasting consequences of corporate decisions. When viewed in total, the Ford Pinto was a car that symbolized both the ambition and the failure of an era. It showed Ford's desire to compete with international rivals and meet consumer demand quickly, but it also revealed the risks of cutting corners in design and testing. Its specifications were modest, its features were basic, but its story is unforgettable. Thank you for watching this detailed review of the Ford Pinto and the crash controversy that made it one of the most infamous cars in history. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep dives into cars, their features, and their stories, make sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Motorsports Mania for more automotive content from around the world.
On so many times